We are live.
Let's go.
Let's go. So late. I'm sorry. In the group chat, I'm looking into that certain company. So I was kind of going drinking whiskey and looking at that. But I took the girls out to dinner anyways before that. So playoff football, I cannot wait.
Yeah.
I mean, Bills Ravens,
that's the one.
It's going to be the game of the year. I have a feeling this is going to be the game of the year. Like everything is on the line for these two teams. Like, I don't know. In my mind, like I'm praying for like I want Bills versus Lions, or Ravens versus Lions. Just keep the Chiefs out. But I think Bills Lions would be freaking so much fun. So.
The hilarious thing was, and I forgot like how in depth the stat was, but like someone took a look at the Dan Campbell effect, as in teams that played the Lions, and how many times they lost after the week after they played the Lions.
Oh, so and like they got so pulverized, they like went into depression over it. Like they murked the Vikings. It's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Like before they played the Lions, like the Vikings' last thing they did was that they hoisted Sam Darnold on their shoulders and praised him. And then they played the Lions, and then that's it. It's gone. Their whole season was destroyed. But unbelievable. Man, that game. I don't know. Darnold. That probably cost Darnold $100 million. That game.
Yeah, probably.
Like my brother and me were talking, like literally, like he went from a $200 million contract to probably like a Baker Mayfield contract.
It's
after that performance, 2 weeks in a row, like.
Yeah, like I didn't study the tape all that hard, but like if they like cover zero, like rushed him constantly, you would think that like the offensive coordinators would have schemed things up so that way he'd be all right. But yeah, I don't know.
Gil is ashamed of my poll. I've never done a poll before, so I figure this would be. Okay, let's see. We're 50-50.
Yeah, leave it to the internet. Like the goal of 50-50 in any poll is.
I mean, I'll give you my answer. No, he's not the worst. The worst president of my life. It's not even close. George Walker Bush. It's not even close. He's the worst president of my life. I don't know if he'll ever be eclipsed.
Yeah,
he was the start of obviously 2 global wars that killed thousands and killed hundreds of thousands if you count everyone, maimed all these veterans, PTSD, suicide issues. He was the one that started this habit of before Bush, like the budget and the deficit wasn't that bad, but then he cut taxes, but he didn't cut any benefits. So if you go look at the chart of the deficit, it started spiking during his time. He was the start of this deficit spending, and it's never backed off since him.
Yeah.
What else? I mean, No Child Left Behind. I think it was an unmitigated disaster because I got out of school before it, so I got to hear other people deal with it. It just sounded like a disaster, like the way No Child Left Behind worked. It was just a way to force to me, it just looked like it was forcing kids that were really smart and hardworking to like you had to put them down because you were trying to treat everyone the same. So they were trying to like bring the kids that were struggling up, but then at the same time you were pulling the kids that were doing really well and excelling down. And I saw it like in a classroom, and I have teacher friends. It was a miserable experience for a while because they all get out of college in like 06, 07, right in the heart of it. So yeah, to me, it's not even close. Friggin', I mean, who knows what would have happened if Al Gore was president when the towers got hit? I think that's the biggest what if of my life, probably. Because I don't know. I think things would have turned a lot differently if Al Gore was the president. 9/11.
Yeah.
Because he wouldn't have had that Bush, it wouldn't have gone in Iraq. I don't know what would happen in Afghanistan. I don't think Iraq would have ever happened. I don't know. But I would have had a different path. So anyways, look who's here.
Yep.
Afghanistan. Yeah, it's funny because I had to read all the books before I went, and I was like, did my leaders read these books? Because this seems like a shit show going invading Afghanistan. It seems like the absolute worst place to invade in the world. Like, you have no chance. So no one, and every superpower ever, like in the last like 2,000 years, has gone in there and barely survived, like, and got out. So let's see. Dan, when are you doing dip? Look, Ryan, it's the same. I want to see his face. I don't debate a blank screen. So we can just, until that happens, it's not, there's no debate. So I'm not debating a blank screen. So do you remember the old, I got into a debate with, what was it, Gabe?
Oh yeah.
Dude, that dude wanted, after I debated him on, I think it was Echo's stream or Kingdoms, I realized when I was debating him, I'm like, this man is really, he's really like a psycho. Like, I think he's going to try and find where I live. Like, so I was kind of nice to him after that. Like, that guy, he's gone now. I think the internet's better if he's gone. That dude can't handle the internet.
Yeah, hopefully he's doing all right. He and his.
Yeah. Gil agrees with me. Holy shit. Bush was a horrible president. Practically a Democrat nowadays.
Yeah.
I mean, people are so like, everyone's always like, the most recent president's the worst president.
Therein lies the rub. Yeah.
When I hear people say, oh no, the guy right now is the worst ever, I'm just like, come on, bro. If you're like 40 or 50, like if you're like older, come on.
Yeah.
Let's be real. He was mentally fragile. So, all right. So we can talk about, we're in now. So Biden's presidency. So I pulled a few things before that. Like here, I don't think we looked at this yet anywhere.
I don't think so.
I don't think anyone in Capital Mindset either talking about. So we have now the sector performance of 2024. So I don't know. Are you shocked? Did you have any? I don't really guess on these things to start a year.
Neither do
any surprises?
I mean, like, the pleasant surprise was for some people that choose to like relatively time it was utilities. Like, some of the utilities relative to the S&P returns was quite respectable. Like, you hear utilities, you probably don't think like 20% returns when the S&P does 23 and change.
I mean, I thought about it at this year because it was like you had the rapid interest increases in the, as the Fed just kept raising rates, which we know utilities carry all this debt. So they're they have to like write down their debt constantly, making them look worse and worse. And in 2023, utilities got crushed, and we knew that. I'm just like, I looked at it, I'm like, I can see their path to doing well, but I'm like, in the end, I hate utility investing. It's just like the worst fucking place to invest. I can't stand it. Like, there's maybe one or two companies that are like outperforming the market, and the rest of it's like this. It's still underperformed, and it did great. So, like, and it's just like their growth decisions are not their own. Their pricing of their products is out of their hands to some degree. I've never bought in utilities before. So, like, companies in that space can be interesting. But that was definitely a big theme this year, was the realization that, the hyperscalers are great, but there's also, okay, what else is there beyond the hyperscalers for all the data center build out? So it's like there's all these companies peripherally around that have to like build infrastructure and are part of this, which is what I've kind of more of my investing, which I thought like if I had to part, like I would have said HVAC investing in data center cooling is a better thesis than utilities, or Sterling
Oh
that
yes.
builds actually the data centers
Hmm.
is a better thesis than utilities to me. It might,
Hmm.
you got to have some balls of steel to hold some of these, but um so yeah, what else? I mean, tech is still the king of the world, I guess.
Yep.
All these Paul Gabriels of the world that keep saying it's a bubble that's going to pop. They say it every year because remember we talked about like what did people say at the beginning of this year? I think it was last episode. And sure enough, people kept saying it's going to, because growth ran so far. So now value stocks are going to come back. The people were writing that at the beginning of last year, probably the year before. They always keep saying this growth does really, or yeah, tech does really well. So they assume that the next year it's going to inverse, and then value all of a sudden is going to come where people move their money. It's like, no, no, these companies are growing. They're growing so rapidly. Like some of them, it's like the stock's doing amazing. The valuations are going down because the earnings are going so bananas. So it's like beyond the scope of someone like Paul Gabriel to understand that
Yeah.
these like tech oligarch companies are something we've never had. I think in the US it takes, so looking at like 100-year-old S&P data, to me, like I don't think it matters anymore. And like you could like in if you looked in like the 80s, you could kind of see those were similar companies to some degree. I think
Hmm.
70 years before, still similar. There were energy companies, there were financials,
Yeah.
just like there were 70, 80 years before that. It's like the game has changed to some degree at this point. um so
Yeah.
I mean, like I don't know, like the financials, that was the one I didn't necessarily think it would do this well.
Hmm.
Financials did amazing, but I mean, they were able, the big players like JP Morgan were able to eat everyone's lunch basically with the Fed.
Yeah. Eat everybody, metabolize everybody, just do Jamie Dimon led things.
Hmm. So we got that. Goldman Sachs did well because mergers, they
Hmm.
were at historically low merger or IPOs, sorry,
Oh
for a
yeah.
while.
Yep.
That came back. So, companies like that have done really well. Real estate, been a pile of garbage, which I am well aware of. not not a I am very aware of that. So I look at this and it's like, okay, well, you start at the bottom and it's like um materials. I've thought about aggregate companies. I know Fabio's
Mhm.
thinking about specific aggregate companies because if we're doing build outs, that's an interesting idea.
Mhm.
Um I like the aggregate idea with uh recycling because you can't just throw this material in the dumps anymore. Like if you demolish a concrete building, you can't just throw it in the garbage. Like a lot of states aren't letting you. You have to handle that uh, waste in a specific way. Like in New York, you have to like basically you have to pulverize the concrete and reduce it back to aggregate, right? To be some recycled to some degree. And there's only so many places in the country that do that type of operation, and they're hard to. I'm not gonna call them modes, but it's just hard to get the permits to like create one of these. And we could see some of them are getting bought up at pretty decent prices. Actually, I can see some of these aggregate companies are moving into that space, which I'm thinking is intriguing. But so it's modish, I guess. Healthcare. I don't think healthcare could have had a worse year. Like everything went wrong for them
Yeah.
this year. The Medicare reimbursements got pulverized, which my wife works at a hospital, so I'm well aware of. That hurt. Hospitals are in, some of them are in dire straits from that. Um, and then also you had the negotiated drug prices start becoming a thing with Medicare. So, and then obviously CEO got assassinated. So, freaking, I don't know. Is this the, like, I don't think Trump's priority is to go after healthcare costs. So it's kind of an, I mean, there's something there, I think, maybe. Real estate, we're believers. So pretty much everyone has a real estate investment or two, I think, in CM that I'm aware of, like pretty
Yeah.
much, which I think you should. I think at some point it just historically it's going to go back to norms. Um, at some point, doesn't even have to do well. Just let's go back to norms. So like new house builders got pulverized recently. We're seeing it back. The cabinets are returning to their glory. So I still maintain my price target for master brands. Still think it's worth $28. Okay, what anything else you want to say about this? Or
No, no, I think we covered it. Like, just fun that, like, even with the start of last year being some concerns, S&P still did quite strongly.
Mhm.
Yeah, so hooray.
So just some briefs. So here is SPY
Yep.
during Joe Biden's presidency, above the norm, pretty impressive. So
Hmm.
I think it was like 19% if you annualize this, 18 or 19. So above, I think 12 or 13 has been the average recent times. Um, see if I pull anything interesting out of this. I don't want to read that. Okay.
Yeah.
The truth about here's Heritage, obviously, so we're right. We're on the right side of things. The truth about Joe Biden's economy. So they talked about some of the issues with housing being unaffordable, inflation issues, and which I mean agree. If I had to do like the one thing of his presidency, like the one biggest reason he failed, I mean I think I don't know what else you'd say. It's this inflation.
Mhm.
Like he for some reason he totally botched completely like, screwed this completely. He couldn't have done this any worse. And I don't know, like he must have just been like so focused on like the unemployment rate or like the stock. If you looked at the stock market and the unemployment rate, you'd be like, what are people complaining about? Right?
Yeah.
Everything's great. Like, you guys should shut up. Joe Biden's economy, Bidenomics is so great. I literally think he just completely didn't care or just never bothered with this. Like he looked at, those umbrella numbers. Like the unemployment rate's low, but what does that matter to you personally if you have a job? The unemployment rate doesn't matter to you, right? But like housing costs matter to you, matter to everybody. So like I just think he missed the boat on this, understanding how devastating inflation was on people the last like 2 years. I mean, this is why he lost. It's not even hard. This is why Kamal got crushed.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
This was coming. Like I think I read a report that like when they got questions about this, the people at the White House would just talk about historically low unemployment rate. That was like their normal response. Um, I mean, that doesn't help someone personally. So this is what I think his presidency represents, basically. Like the people that had good jobs and good money, the well off people did great under Joe Biden. Like the people on the borders did really badly and got hurt. Like I think really hurt by him. So that's how I'm gonna remember him. Of course, here's the Treasury, which is I can Janet Yellen or could she go away? I don't ever want to hear her talk again. Freaking, I've had enough of that woman being in the freaking government. So yeah, and then they have to highlight stuff, right? U.S. economy outperforms expectations, the height of the pandemic and through recovery. Okay, yeah. See here, they want to say, "Oh, we lessened inflation." I'm like, yeah, but you lessened it after you let it go crazy up to like 9%. Okay, like that was you. So you can't come in. Oh, we came in when it was terrible. So no, you were there and you made terrible decisions. Um, spurring innovation. I mean, there was the Chip Act,
Yep.
the Inflation Reduction Act. It's like just more like when everything was going well, they should have really backed off the spending. Like that's where inflation got crazy. It's just like things were doing well. We were recovering from COVID, and everyone's like, okay, let's back off all this money that we're throwing out at the economy. We can taper that back, and they didn't. They ramped up even
Oh,
more.
throw more.
Yeah, and then inflation's a problem. It's like, okay, stop spending so much freaking money. Like, nope, they didn't though, and like they couldn't make that connection. And um, there's Joe Biden's presidency to me.
Yeah.
Um,
Fight inflation by throwing around more money into the system.
yeah, and they wanted like inflation reduction checks are the craziest idea ever. To fight inflation, you're going to throw money at people, which my governor's about to send me like $500 apparently. But
What?
it's different though because I'll explain that. In New York, because of inflation, everything
Mhm.
got more expensive, which meant sales taxes went up because everything was more expensive. It's a percentage, right? So they decided now to take that excess sales tax they didn't expect because of everything getting more expensive and then give it back. The difference is like it's money that actually exists and it
Oh,
wasn't
okay. Yeah.
created out of thin air like the federal government.
Yeah.
So it actually is, it makes sense, right?
Mm.
It's money that did exist in the system, and she's just giving it back to us rather than
Yeah.
pissed it away in some project.
Yeah. 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 No, all right. All right. I can wrap my head around that because, like, a local township, my my mom's house one day, like even though the assessors were like, yeah, your house is increased in value, the tax assessors were like, oh, we don't actually need that much in the budget, so we're actually going to reduce the amount of tax we want for this
I mean, I
specific
live
item.
in a suburb of a big city, and
Yeah.
like the Albany itself is
Mhm.
such a shit show. I would never live in there. But like
Oh
being in
no.
the suburbs, which are all conservative, responsibly administered, they've never reassessed my house since it was built.
Oh
So
wow.
like my house taxes are crazy low.
Very
Um,
nice.
for the area, which that's why I lived here actually. It's literally why I moved here. So, what else about Biden? He'll be remembered for Ukraine. Like there was no answer. Like I'm sure the Ukraine channels can talk about this, but like, what was the vision of Ukraine? Like there was no vision. It was just keep dumping money on Ukraine, and it's just like Biden never came out with any sort of concept of what are we doing? We're just throwing money at Zelensky to use. Um, I don't know that was there a better way, but I guess we're going to find out what Trump does. So, um, just the constant, and as people are getting crushed by inflation, we're watching, the US government send what 20, 30, 40 billion dollars to Ukraine. So that's another part of his legacy. I mean, if we'll see how that ends up. I mean, we don't know how the story ends yet with Ukraine. Yeah.
Yeah.
So overall, good riddance, Joe Biden.
Yep. Out with
Like
the old, in with the old.
the people that think he's a transition president was making me laugh. Like Joe Biden was never a transition president. The man ran for president like 3 times. Like this man's always wanted to be the president of the United States since the 80s. He's run many times, right? He's failed a lot. So he finally gets in the Oval Office after all these attempts, and you think he's going to voluntarily back out after 4 years? People crazy thinking that he was going to fucking drop, back out of this. So, and this is what happened. He then went to that Trump debate, and everyone on display, they couldn't hide anymore what happened to him. Like his brain went to
Yeah,
mush.
he's gotten really old.
They were able to hide him for all these years of his presidency, and then you couldn't anymore. You had to put him out for a debate, and it's like, oh my god, I couldn't watch it. It was so I would watch like a minute of that debate, and then I had to turn it off. I'm like, I can't watch this old man falling apart on stage and his family just enabling him to be put out there like that. It just kind of pissed me off. Um, so I don't know. And then Nancy Pelosi ended his campaign basically.
Yeah.
She's like, "You better if you don't get out, I'm taking all the money away." So, and now he wants to ban stock trading, which is hilarious. On his way out, it's like, "Oh yeah, revenge." But
No, the Pelosi family business. No.
oh my god, the best traders in the world. There's a guy that just does a robo or somebody on Reddit I follow that he just created like a robo advisor that just follows Nancy Pelosi, and it's like doubled the performance of the market. So it's not all his money. He just like I think he threw like 50 grand into it. It's doing really well. So
Very
it's a
nice.
little tricky though because they have 45 days to tell
Yeah.
when they're so you know
Mhm.
sometimes they'll tell you sooner than later, right? They have the little strategies with that. All right, well, okay, goodbye, Biden,
Yep.
and ready for Trump.
Trump part 2.
The other part, but so the Pete Hegseth confirmation. And they were constantly griping that he doesn't have the background experience to be the head of the Department of Defense.
Mhm.
But I'm pissed because it's like, so what background would be what they want? Because technically, if you're a historical, if you look at the Constitution and like how the DoD was set up, the intention was a civilian to run the military. We know
Yeah.
this. You and me
Yeah.
are in the military.
Mhm.
The whole concept is a civilian-led military. The Secretary of the Army is a civilian. You know, Secretary of the Defense is a civilian. That's how this was intended. It was the whole system. And then in recent times, it's like everyone keeps picking retired generals. And it drives me crazy because I'm like, this system was not designed to have, we're not supposed to have a general in charge of the military. I hate to break it to people. That's not the way it's supposed to work. It's not. It's supposed to be a civilian. So like, and they're like, you don't have experience. I'm like, okay, so you're saying only generals can have this position that have to get special exemptions to get this position because they're not supposed to be in charge. Um, so then what are you left with if you want someone that has to have run a large entity to run the Department of Defense before? You'd be left with people like the CEOs of the military contracting company, like Lockheed or something.
Yeah.
Do we really want like the CEO of like Northrop Grumman or Lockheed to run the military? Like, I don't know. Like
Yeah. Seems
a
like
guy
a
like
little fishy.
Pete Hegseth is the type of person that should be running the freaking Department of Defense. Like we forget what John or JFK, like the age of some of his secretaries. Like
Oh yeah.
how we forget? Like
Yep.
all of a sudden everyone's got to be like 60, 70 years old to run government like departments. Like he had guys that were like in their 40s running the government. So it's like I hated when I heard these idiots talking like this. I'm like, yeah, the friggin' Secretary of Defense should not be a retired general. Like, can we get over this? Forcing him out. Yeah. Oh yeah, Nancy Pelosi ended his friggin' presidential run. I mean, obviously we know how it ended. He should have just gone to the finish line, I guess, right? Would that have been a better path for Kamala to become president? Because he wouldn't have made 4 more years.
No.
So, but maybe the path could have been he run for president still, because he's still the name Biden, and then she's just going to take over a year later or something. But him just exiting after an embarrassing debate, like this was one of the biggest debacles I've ever seen in my life. Who is messaging?
That would be Andrew.
Gondar.
Yep.
Okay. Echoes in the building. Democrats panicked when they saw the polling data. Oh yeah. I don't know if Echo, like the complete lack of, you probably missed, like I was talking about, like the complete lack of Biden's seeming to care at all about inflation hurting people, I think sunk his whole presidency. But
Yeah.
he never seemed to like give a shit about
Because
what it was doing to people.
there's the academic view on U.S. Economics and macro, and then there's like what people feel and experience or are complaining about.
I mean, I agree. In the end, like I didn't think he was going to bow out, but you know,
Yep.
2 years in when we started, remember, like 2 years into his presidency, he started falling all the time. Like at the beginning, he was okay. Like when he ran for he seemed like he was in good shape at the time. And then like 2 years in, I remember all of a sudden he's just falling all the time. And then like disappeared. Like
Mhm.
halfway through his presidency after COVID kind of, kind of was less important. He just kind of disappeared and he's not doing interviews. And it's like you could tell like they were hiding him.
Yeah.
And it just sucks because who's to blame? I mean, if he was as senile as people say, which who knows? We'll never know. But like his wife, like think of who enabled him to run again. He said he talked to his wife and his son. And if these people said, "Yeah, Dad, you should run again," even though they knew that he was mentally affected, then that's on them. Was Bacon? Yeah, Bacon was in the Air Force.
That was.
Yes. Although he
Yeah,
feels
just-
like a
just-
Navy man.
Just an enlisted guy, just a nobody.
Dems messed up. Oh, the departure. Way too soft on crime and border. I've thought about this because I was in that part of Afghanistan. So when they were fleeing, I knew I was at that airport. I was at that Kabul airport like every 3 days. It was part of our transportation route. We were at a base right next to it. I delivered anybody that had to get on a plane. They went to my base and they were bunked up in this like tent next to me. I put them on an armored bus, which I think I showed you a picture of that. So you've never seen anything like this. It's literally it was an armored bus. I mean, so we would drive them all to the Kabul airport. It didn't have those huge barricades like in the photos when they left. It didn't have all that at that time. I don't know, like a better way to leave the country. They probably should have gone to Bagram. I'm not sure why they did Kabul as the last stand because
yeah.
I can show a map. So
Yeah, because if I recall correctly, like from a logistics hub standpoint, Bagram like really moved the needle.
Bagram was a bigger airport.
Yeah,
much bigger. I think. Yeah, Kabul is like one airstrip. It's not that big. It's like a regional airport near you, if you can visualize. It's very small, and it's surrounded by this ridge line. So you get off, and there's the buildings where the airport is, and then there's a ridge line all the way around it. I have photos of it. Like it was, you could not have held, like when people said we should have stayed past the deadline, you could not have held that airport after the deadline. They could have gotten on that ridge line and they just started lobbing mortars and RPGs at us. You wouldn't have been able to fly out of it at that point. You would have had to start like carpet bombing parts of Kabul. And the airport's in Kabul. It's not on the outskirts like cities here. Like it's in Kabul, their airport. There's freaking buildings all around it. Let's see. But yeah, if you can see here, Bagram is like 45 minutes on this road north, give or take 45 minutes to an hour, depending how fast we could go. I mean, it's a paved road the Russians made, although the locals were destroying the road. They'd start pulling out rocks to build walls, so the road was caving in. But Bagram is away from. There's nothing around Bagram. There was just some shops, but there was not like cities. It was a bigger airport, much bigger facilities. Like that's where we should have left. I don't understand why they picked Kabul. You could have flown people on helicopters out of Kabul to Bagram, like, and then you could have stayed away from the fucking that, and then we would have had those weird, crowd surges that I don't know how they didn't think that was going to happen. Like I said, Kabul airport's in Kabul. There's no separation. The green zone is nearby. I guess that's maybe why they did it. The green zone, which is where all the embassies, is like 15-ish minutes down the road. So it was right there. But that was, I don't know. There was not going to be an easy way to get out, but I think they could have done much better. I'm not sure why they did it that way, but I don't know. Maybe he just didn't make it. He just said get out, and then he just went to sleep. Maybe, I don't know. But that's going to be a stain on him for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and I think rightfully so, because like from a constitutional perspective, like that's one of the key jobs of president.
Oh, he's talking about Kamal might too.
Yeah.
I think it'd be crazy for I don't know. I think running California governor, but she's never been an executive. I don't think. Like she was an attorney general.
Mm-hmm.
She was a senator. She's not been like an executive, like administering something like a city or a county or a state. So that might, yeah, who knows? I mean, really, who knows? She could make a fortune if she just goes between Los Angeles and New York City and just does speeches, write some books. I mean, maybe she needs to fill her war chest. We don't know. A lot of them do that. They just all of a sudden they leave political life and all of a sudden they're like worth $70 million out of nowhere. It's like, Jesus. He may put his hat in her, but he won't ring. Okay. Kamala has zero chance to win the presidency. I don't see how. But then again, it's like she has if she surrounds herself with enablers that are like, you can do it. It's not your fault. You were set up to fail. Like, you didn't have a full campaign season. It's like, if she had done the primaries, do we forget in 2020 she didn't even make it through the first state before her campaign fell apart? Like, we can't pretend she's some popular candidate. I don't think she even made the first primary in 2020 before it all fell apart. People were saying her campaign was a disaster. I think it ran out of money, which says she can't raise funds. So, I mean, did she really raise that $1 billion this year or in 2024, or was that just Trump hating, right?
Yeah.
Was that really her effort? We don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. It might be fresh faces, in 2028. I think Gavin Newsom still can run, but he looks like a president, right?
Mhm.
So some people will vote on just like physical appearance.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
somebody who looks like him will always have a chance in politics. Vivek expect take J.D. Vance's seat for Ohio. Ooh.
Yeah, Doge gets a little bit smaller. The Doge
Doge
is
is such a shit. Well, boy, talk about someone that got a crap assignment. Like Vivek got hosed. Yeah. All the brown nosing of Trump, and that's what you get. You didn't even get a cabinet. You didn't get an embassy. Like he could have got an embassy
yeah.
job. But no, you got Doge. Okay.
Yep.
Doge is going to
Alrighty.
release a report in like July of 2026, and then they're just going to go away. That's all it is. So, and then like it'll be interesting to see, like, Trump is not running again for president. I'll be really interested to see how the Republicans in Congress treat him, because they're running for re-elections in the future. Trump isn't. So at this point, it's a different, they have to run that math in their head about
Yep.
following some of his policies. So we're going to see.
Yeah,
This will be
the politics trend of lame duck time just seems to
yes.
creep up a little bit
Mhm.
closer every time.
Elon has no morals. Yo, Echoes, are you going to do a video about what Elon took the blue check mark and what do you like? He
Oh, for Asmongold, I think it was,
Asmongold.
or yeah.
Yeah, he shows freaking his tweet or his direct messages from Twitter. That was so wrong. I was watching that. So what an ass. All right, we should talk about Hindenburg.
Yep, Hindenburg.
I'm gonna lose focus. So, do you want to read I guess we can skim through his
Yep.
goodbye.
Yes.
Just the highlights. I
Uh,
find this interesting what he wrote here, that this has never been his like life dream.
mhm.
Like he didn't think this was who he was. Like this was just something he did in his life, is what he's saying. Like
Yep.
it's just something he did for a while. So he just wants to move on. And then he's stating like it's no specific reason why he's getting out of this. Talked about like have 100 individuals who was working on this after it was small. Uh, it's intense at all times, all encompassing. I mean, you're basically trying to make a business go out of, you're trying to crush a company, and that company has people that have
Mhm.
jobs and families. I'd imagine it doesn't get more high stakes than being a shorter, you're trying to put people out of business. So, so why disband now? There's not one specific thing, no particular health issues, no big reason. I was reading this. I'm like, oh, he either secured the bag and just doesn't want to be hated all the time, or he did something really bad when I read this. So. Beyond my own desire for relief, feel selfish. I mean, we'll see. So that's what he said, Nate Anderson.
Yep. Mhm.
So then this is almost like a rebuttal we found from Mark. I found this because Mark.
Oh
Capone
yeah.
posted.
I saw this.
I didn't
one
know who
also.
this was. He's got a
I don't know
really.
either. But
I don't follow Twitter people. So there's so
same.
much when people
Yeah.
they're tweeting like every hour. I'm like, I can't keep up with this stuff. So what is his rebuttal? Nate Anderson, the self-proclaimed Robin Hood of Wall Street. I don't know if I've ever heard him call himself that. He's now retiring, short-selling circus. Oh, shucks routine. Okay, let's go. Assembling a team of ruthless assassins. Please, you hired a bartender, not James Bond. Ruthless assassins don't need open source guides for their methods. You didn't assemble a team of crack financial minds. You put together a cast of half-baked heist movie. So you're not Jason Bourne. You're more like the dude behind the counter at Blockbuster. What?
Dated reference for those that don't know.
Then we can talk about, I guess you can talk about this in a minute. Then there's the Adani debacle.
Yep.
That's the Indian company.
Yep.
Correct. Okay. That was the one he did when I'm like, oh my God. He bit off, I think, more than he could handle. Just my opinion.
Yeah.
You wiped 150 billion off market and walked away with 4 million. That's it. Those are rookie numbers, Nate. It's like robbing Fort Knox and leaving with a loose change. Oh, and moral grandstanding. Nearly 100 people charged because of you. Bravo. Let's give you standing ovation of the guy who destabilized markets and left retail investors holding the bag while he skipped off into the sunset with chump change. You're not a hero. You're a financial arsonist standing behind a blaze, bragging about how warm it feels. God damn.
Yeah, no kidding.
So
Scathing.
I wasn't aware this guy existed. So I don't have any opinions about him. So he like I looked at some of his tweets. Like he's accusing basically like none of Hindenburg's research was his own. Like you were just stealing like open source available data and research methods from other people, stuff like that. Okay. Well, that's a lot.
That is a lot,
So,
but
okay.
and
Oh, not yet.
not yet.
Okay,
Not
so
yet.
shoot. Okay, so there is where did you send it? This one. Okay.
Yep.
So you want to go so what is the accusation why people think he closed shop rather than just getting out of it?
The accusation is that there's signs of legal rumblings against Hindenburg and Nate Anderson. As of right now, I think it was it Citron Research and the people over there that are more so caught in the
Yeah.
crossfires right now. And time will tell if anything comes of that. But again, this I have no idea. Again, I'm not a lawyer. I haven't looked in this space to see how valid or invalid this is. And I trust that everybody is grown adults and can come up to their own conclusions.
So the Anson and
Yes,
Hindenburg collaborated
yes,
on a
on
short,
yep,
so they broke the law
yeah,
somehow.
like that's the claim. The accusation is basically more or less like a front run. You know how like people pump and dump, like they front run, they collude, collaborate, buy up everything before they promote a stonk on the long
Mhm.
side. Yeah, obviously same thing, but just on the short side. Have your bearish positions up front, and then promote that thing will go down, and cash out and get out, regardless of whatever price targets. Again, in
So
theory,
all these people are speculating that they're going to
yeah,
get charged. So
yeah.
in the Trump era, we're going to charge people with financial crimes. Okay. So funny
Yeah.
guys.
I mean, like at the same time though, I do like for whatever reason, if you were from a political perspective, like go after any sort of financial crime, like no one really likes short sellers.
I mean, you're trying to put people out of business
Yeah,
and you're going against the natural order of things, right?
yeah,
Stock
yeah,
market goes up over long periods of time, so it breaks people's minds to think that you're betting against that.
yeah.
But we know most companies lose value over time. If
Hmm.
you look at like each individual company, most companies lose value and just disappear over time, given a long enough time horizon. But
Yeah.
yet the stock market continues to go up. So like they are going against the tide of
Hmm.
things. So it's just weird because like they're I don't know. I understand they shouldn't collude together, but it's just like you put out your thesis, right? And like they don't have to specifically list. I don't think what their positions are.
Yeah.
So they don't have
Just
to. They
nothing.
don't have to put out that we have these positions at the report. They also don't have to say whether they're holding long or short. There's
Hmm.
no requirement for that. So they're just putting out their opinion on a company. And then here's the tricky part. It's like, okay, what do you do with that information? Because I think we've learned because I've been shorting a little longer than you guys, but we've been
Yeah.
last 2 years kind of a lot of shorting and stuff. But um, like a company can be a pile of shit, and the market just doesn't care. Like
Yes.
that's just the truth of the like.
Yeah.
You can be right and you can be wrong at the same time.
Yeah. Like
Um,
true
that's the
short
game
seller.
you're playing. Like,
Yeah.
and you can't try like. So I think a lot of this like it's not really shorting. People are just taking a Hindenburg report and then they just think they're momentum traders, right? Because all of a sudden there's eyeballs on this stock and they jump into it. They're not really shorting the company. They're just doing something else, like a day trading options or
Yeah.
something like that, momentum, right? And then they move on. So I don't know if I've actually shorted anything based on I was looking at this list. Carvana. Yeah, Carvana. It's just like like Andrew and me have looked at threads and people accusing them of wrongdoing for shit over a year now, and I keep going back to the same thing. It's just like, how do you know? Like, it just keeps going up. No one cares. No one gives a shit. This company, even when used cars, like I'll look at like the used car data. Used car values are going down. Used cars, like volumes are going down across the country. Somehow Carvana's stock just keeps going up like nothing matters, and it's just like there's something wrong here. Like Ally Financial got clobbered on car loans, I think a year ago. And I was like, okay, this must mean something to Carvana. Nope. And then we're finding out in the short report they're accusing, that wasn't like he's accusing. So Ally backed off a lot of their used car loan buying from Carvana, but then Carvana apparently was creating this other company, this shell company to do that business with, that they also had a hand in. Like that was some of the accusations in Hindenburg. But I'm just like, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Carvana just keeps doing what it does. See some of his good ones. Clover Health, he nailed that one. I remember that one. I remember reading Clover Health. He was dead on about that. He was dead on about Smile Direct, the Jeremy Lefebvre. I remember that because I remember when Jeremy Lefebvre started pumping Smile Direct, and I knew that Hindenburg had done a short report on it, and he was dead on. I mean, he's had some real good ones. It's an impressive track record, I would say. I should create my track record. I think mine's pretty decent.
Yeah,
none of them have BK'd yet.
Yeah, you produced the best of 2024 though, at least. So you know that's something.
Who is this?
I don't know, but
It
Andrew
says Trump.
maybe wants to get in.
Oh, that's got to be Andrew.
Oh, okay.
Is it?
It's loading.
Oh, I'll have to remove for a second. It's
All
loading. Right. So what else? Ebix. You might remember Ebix from.
Oh yeah. Paul Gabriel.
Paul Gabriel did. If you go back in my library, if you want people, Paul Gabriel did a video saying Ebix was a better investment than Tesla, and it basically became a fraud, and I think it went bankrupt. Is he in? Now he's in.
Hey, what's going on? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you guys hold on?
You were blank for like.
Did you see?
Minute.
Yeah, I don't know. I just plugged this computer in because I'm trying to work on getting the other one able to stream. If you can tell, I wasn't really planning on doing anything other than playing some like medieval 2 Total War. Inside joke, but did you see what Trump tweeted?
No.
Go to his Twitter page. It is incredible. But before we go there, what do you think he tweeted?
Immigration stuff.
No. It's better than that. Go to his Twitter. Because you were talking about financial crimes and prosecuting them. Mm-hmm. Right there at the top. Go back.
This one?
Right, yeah. My new official Trump meme is here. Time to celebrate everything we stand for winning. It's a meme coin.
Yeah.
And one wallet has 80% of the coins.
Screw it, we crypto ball.
It's at I think a 6.5 billion market cap right now.
Oh my god. This next 4 years is gonna be wild. Dude, like financial like I wouldn't, if I was a shorter, actually maybe I would be out of it too, because it's like he's gonna find financial crimes and be like, who gives a shit anymore? We're in the era of Trump. Like that's probably why he's leaving. It's like wow.
All that
presidents of the United States have meme coins.
Yeah.
Well, they gave him immunity. The Supreme Court said, basically.
Yep.
It's gonna be crazy.
I don't know where you see like the price of that coin. I saw someone post that it's like worth at like that level. I'm not a person. That's why I was like, guys, you got to see this.
Yeah. So next thank you, Slurpees. Hawk to a girl will get elected to some political post.
Echo says, "What? Well, time to make a video." everyone
Echo's like, I'm on it.
At first, everyone thought he was hacked, but then it was like, no, because now it's been like 2 hours, and like obviously he could tell Musk like that if it was a hack.
Yeah.
Jesus. Okay, so
what
else
is this Coyotes going unhinged at Hindenburg?
Yeah,
we
he
already
was.
covered that topic, I think. Yeah.
I see.
What do you think of Hindenburg leaving? Do you think it's we covered both sides. People think it's nefarious.
Yep.
He's going to get prosecuted, or do you believe him just saying I'm done with it?
I mean, no, I don't think he's a smash and grab. I think there's a lot of envy among people for certain shops getting more notoriety than others. I mean, look at the people that he went after. Did you see what Trevor Milton did?
Trevor
I-
Milton
He's
was
coming
it
back
Nicola?
on. I've seen him
he
videos.
he made a video saying like, this is why short sellers are evil. Hindenburg, he's retiring. He's an evil short seller. He shouldn't be allowed to, like, short sellers should be illegal. Like, basically did like a victory lap on
Oh,
Yeah,
he's-
Nicola. Yeah, I
what a
remember
piece
my
of shit. This
crap
guy's
post.
back on.
Yeah, he's
listen
got
to the
his own
video.
website.
Listen to the video because is this where he talks about? No, this isn't where he's talking about Hindenburg, is it?
No,
That looks like the one, but I don't know.
Short sellers in government.
Was that what he said about short sellers in government up there?
This one says short sellers. Is this it?
Yeah, that's probably it.
I have to pull it
I
out.
can't hear, but he basically is like, oh, short sellers make money, from prosecuting people. They're evil. They should be banned. And it's like, just insane.
I kind of think though, like they should have some sort of lockups. Or I don't know, like one line of thinking is like if you release a short report, treat it somehow like an IPO where you have lockup periods. Or would you go the route of just saying you have to declare in a filing specifically what your short positions are when you short? I don't know. Because none of that exists right now, really. It's like,
I feel like it's a very small issue too, if you look at the grand scheme of like.
Yeah, in the
market.
end, yes.
But no. So I'm going to say on Hindenburg. I mean, this guy. He went after this guy. Good on him. Like, screw this guy.
Yeah.
Adani.
I remember that.
Like, Adani was like basically confirmed like a government like helped fraud. There's all these things. I don't know. I think people are going to be like really worried about like Trump encouraging. I don't think. My opinion is like it's gonna be relatively like there might be a little less focus on it, but I don't think like the DOJ is going to change that much in going after nefarious actors. Personally, I don't think Trump doesn't care about that. I don't think Trump cares.
They'll just make like an example out of one person.
Well,
I mean, look, we fight crime, and then everyone else just won't matter.
I don't think I think people focus too much on the president and like what he's gonna do. I don't think like it's gonna make a big change. But the meme going shit is hilarious. And
well, I mean, I can tell like it doesn't matter who the governor of New York is. Like my auditing of grants doesn't change. So like, yeah, the people like me in the federal government, it's like you just do your job.
Most people in the SEC, in the DOJ, and all these things, they're going to keep doing their job, and it's going to be mostly business as usual.
Drain the swamp.
Well, my opinion is like, and I've had this opinion for a while. I think I said this like when Trump got elected, and I told people this I think before. Whoever gets elected, just remember, 99.9% of your day, they will have zero impact on it unless you want them to have impact on it. Like you're actually going to go and look at the stuff.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, the hero worshipping or demonizing is just overrated.
Yeah.
You know what was the one of the most surprising ones here, and I'm looking at it now, when he went after Carl Icahn.
Oh yeah, that one was.
I was floored because people do not go after Carl Icahn, and they did it. Basically, if I remember correctly, they were accusing them of basically just paying these exorbitant dividends that they couldn't afford, and like the mechanism they were using to pay those dividends, he was saying was like fraud.
Well, also how much of the float they controlled and everything, and like all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, but I remember, like you said, Nicola, he was the one. They were the ones that talked about the demo vehicle that was bullshit. And I remember in his short report, they had like the demo, they had like the videos paused to show like where it was all fake, that it didn't work. And then they were the ones, the video it going downhill. Remember? the Nikola that didn't work, and they just pushed.
Oh
it
yeah,
down the hill.
well, Trevor Milton says that everyone exaggerates. His comment, because he said in the short seller thing, was like everyone exaggerates in marketing.
Oh God.
Love
You
it.
can that's the exact one where like the guy clipped. I put in the private chat if you want to see.
Yeah.
The Trevor Milton stuff, but
Okay, I have to pull it out. Is this the video?
yeah.
Okay.
While Dan's doing that, please do consider liking, commenting, and subscribing.
Okay, here you go.
To talk about it. This is why you shouldn't believe the Hindenburg report. Number one, selective use of evidence, like the truck being plugged in. Every single vehicle at CES is plugged in. Does that mean every OEM is fraudulent? Reliance on unverified whistleblower testimony. Who are these whistleblowers and what do they get paid for? They get paid to lie. They get paid to take money and they get paid to testify against you. How much money are they getting? No one wants to talk about it. You know why? Millions and millions of dollars. Misrepresentations of prototype demonstrations. A good example is a truck rolling down the hill. Every single company out there uses stuff in commercials. Exaggeration of claims. A lot of these are tweets. They're like, oh, you didn't provide all the context. There's 160 characters in the tweet. How do you provide the context? That's what the SEC filings are for. The due diligence by the major partners. They were saying that all these guys were duped. Not a single partner ever said that they were ever misled, ever. They had access to all the information. None of them were ever misled. And also, the fact is, Hindenburg gets paid to destroy companies and burn them to the ground. So whether it's true or not, the fact they come out with a report instantly destroys a company. And you know what? Short sellers are illegal in Europe for a reason. They should be illegal in the US, and this is reasons why you should not believe what they say.
But you're a fraud that went to prison. Like, what?
And Nikola going to zero, or I don't know if it went to zero, but like effectively went to zero, right? That wasn't because of the Hindenburg report. That was because you had a fraudulent company that couldn't make a working vehicle.
Unbelievable.
Not good enough as a business operator. Sorry.
Yeah. So
I mean, you're like, when we read about like these hydrogen trucks was such bullshit. That's one thing I've done a lot of diligence in hydrogen. I've talked to certain people because there's the Plug Power. I've shorted the crap out of it. Like, hydrogen's bullshit. It'll never work. It never work. It makes no sense. So it's all smoke and mirrors, but freaking hilarious. But he's talking about like GM will make a prototype, but they tell you it's a prototype. Like, so that whole, I don't know what he's talking about. They put out a prototype. It's not a real vehicle that will ever be produced. And they just, GM or Ford will tell you that, like, this is a concept vehicle or something. Right. And it's like hand built. Like, this is not a car you'll ever be able to buy. They put that truck out on display and it's like, this will be in production like by this year. You can buy one. It's like unbelievable. Oh, what a time to be alive. And then Lordstown Motor.
Yes.
So I don't know if you guys knew, but I knew that was going to fail. I went after that because so remember they had the motors and the wheels.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that?
Yep. Yeah. The hub.
And he was trying to sell you. It was so scumbaggy. So like the CEO was going on CNBC and talking about how it was revolutionary concept to put the motors in the wheels instead of like in the like underneath the car, right? Starts bullshitting. So I look it up. The reason they did it was because that's the cheapest way to do motors, and it's the oldest way to do motors. So it's the oldest, crappiest technology for electric vehicles is to put the motors in each four of the four wheels. And then why don't they do that anymore? Because it's not good technology and it breaks all the time because you get dirt and stuff that gets into the motors. So basically it was an obsolete design of a vehicle. And then they took advantage of a really poor part of Ohio, I think it was, where they lost the GM plant. That was a really bad place for that town. And he took advantage of them and got a bunch of tax incentives for that scumbag operation. So, but he was another guy. He had a history of like, bad dealings. Yeah, he was not a good guy. The guy that ran Lordstown Motors. History of this garbage. But it doesn't matter under Trump though. It's all good. It'll all be okay now. Oh.
I also gave you the website for the gettrumpmemes.com.
What are we pumping crypto here, Andrew? What do you already buy?
Oh yeah, I bought.
You're gonna pump and dump Dan's audience.
I got rid of all of my quantum shorts, all of that. I just put it all in to get Trump.
Oh, have you seen you? I don't know if you were in the group chat a lot.
I saw this.
A new one. Follow Capybara Research. They went after Qubit. I sent it to. I think I posted it this morning.
Yeah, you tagged me with it in Twitter.
I read part of it. I was pretty busy today, but yeah. So they basically kind of a short report against Qubit today is rampant fraud. You can download the document.
Oh.
There's not a lot to it. This is not like Hindenburg level,
but this is like not like I knew this.
It's pretty much you've talked about this stuff.
Yeah, dude. They said they had a contract with NASA. NASA came out and was like, no.
So they got a contract with NASA for something unrelated, just so like they could say they had a contract with NASA.
Oh, these guys also are shorting LASE, not LAES.
Apparently.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah, I like.
I'm gonna look at their stuff more this weekend, but it looks funny.
Hopefully, it's good work, but yeah,
So I read some of this and I entered my Qubit short after I read this morning. It did all right.
Did you get? I don't. My broker, I can't get inventory on them.
No,
they're my favorite short out of the quantum stocks, but
I have to say, Andrew made me a lot of money. I'm very happy with you. And part of it was my screw up also. So part of my screw up with a splash of you helping me.
This is my favorite short of all the quantum stocks. I just can't get any inventory on my broker. This thing's a zero.
Because I remember I told you I jumped in somewhere around here, and then I screwed up and bought the January 17th when I thought I was buying like June.
So
it was on my phone, and then it just tanked, and I'm like, oh my god, how much? And then I log in, and it like almost 10x, just about.
Yeah. And just so you know, I don't currently have a short position on it because I couldn't open one. But dude, it's almost a $2 billion valuation. They did 26,000 in revenue.
Dude, I know. It's like, this is not real. This is not real. And then I went out like, I think May or June I'm out now. But then I got whole year Rigetti. I'm going to ride this all the way down to this is going to be like 50 cents eventually.
I don't know what their cash value is, but man, they're at 3.52 billion market cap.
Well, the problem is the CEO is not a scumbag.
Yeah.
It seems. So he's not going to be dishonest, I don't think. I don't think he's going to do the scumbaggy stuff. So I think it's just going to start coasting
He
down.
wants to be taken seriously as a scientist, I think. Now,
I heard his speech at that conference you said about.
Yeah.
But, I'm like, if he doesn't do any dishonest stuff, this is just going to float down because they don't have any revenue. It's all just government contracts. So.
But I was going to say, D-Wave, QBTS, their CEO's a scumbag. But
I haven't looked at anymore. I just kind of focused on those two.
Mm-hmm.
So, what a time to be alive.
Dude, every year, the stock market gives you like these opportunities. It's happened to me like every single year. I mean, 2020 was like, it gave you a million opportunities. But I think it was like 2018, it was buying NVIDIA and AMD. And I went heavy into those. 2019, I think I was going through IPOing with the company, so I couldn't but from 2020 onwards, it was just there was some insane opportunity every year. You had 2020, everything was just going up, so that was the opportunity. Same with 2020. What was it in 2021 that was I remember I went back and looked at this. It's KKR at 30. I don't remember. I'd have to go back and look at my port. And then
I'm not going to talk about this FTAI. If anybody wants to go to ICOM and you can hear the breakdown.
Yeah, I was tempted to hop on that ICOM just for that segment, but I
listened to it at work because I fell asleep. So
yeah, I spoiler alert, I am playing it, but it's very small, and turns out I have some fun company on that one.
Wait, what do you
Not
think?
just Fabio, FTAI.
Oh, I flipped it, so I bought it when it was
I know you did, but
yeah,
I have interesting company. I'll put it that way.
Interesting situation. I just, I was like, this is insane. Just on the basis of the short report itself, but I haven't actually researched the company myself, so I'm like, I can't. Other than like a flip on an insane short report, in my opinion. Yeah.
I only have one thing left.
Yep.
Because I'm getting tired.
Fires. Investment idea, possibly.
So I told you guys about this earlier. Andrew hates it because it's so boring. But anyway, so I'm trying to think of like. So
I'm working, so I might have ignored it.
It was like my message to Fabio about that one company, industrial.
I think I was just working, so I didn't look at the chat. That's all.
I think we talked to the community. Like the most obvious investment for California fires is like United Rental, because they're going to have to bring in all this massive equipment to help build the infrastructure back up. And the quickest way to do that is you just lease the equipment, and they can bring it in from all over America. So, which is funny because you look, the market's already on this shit. Like, look at that. So this is not like a secret for people, but there's going to be a lot of, you would assume, growth. The only problem, like I was trying to figure, like, how big is the California business for them? I mean, they don't report their financials that way. So, I mean, some degree of the obviously doesn't matter because they can just bring equipment from anywhere in the country to where it needs to be used. So I don't know if people don't, if you don't know what this company is, I don't know what to tell you. They are the rentals for all sorts of equipment for construction purposes, booms, excavators, all that stuff. So not the ones you get at Home Depot. So.
I believe they also are the largest, so there's an economies of scale advantage.
So my thought was to sell a put and then use the premium to just buy the shares, because I think there's a lot of upside. Like
You all right?
I didn't have time to wrap my brain around it today. It's okay. Yeah.
That's all right. Yeah, we still got a weekend to work with.
I feel like I don't know if there's a lot of huge chunks upside now. So I'm like, but the thesis is so strong with them, with these natural disasters. I'm gonna think it through over the weekend. Oh, I'm not that conviction on it, but like you can see some of it's already gone. Like it's already up 15%.
I'll tell you
from the fires. So
I'll tell you all what's going to be like the trade of the decade. I bet
AI.
If this happens, I'm telling you right now, it does not matter if what the price is the day this happens, but if indeed Trump takes Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac out of conservatorship, I don't care if it goes up 400% that day. You buy and hold it.
Oh, interesting.
What if it goes up 1,000,000%?
Dude, look at a chart of AGM. If you bought on the pop when it went out of conservatorship in 2010, it was at $22.52 a share, and you look like a sucker. It went down 50% in like the next 6 months. Doesn't matter. You bought from there, you're up 770% plus dividends.
Oh my god.
AGMA, if your brokerage allows you to get the Class A's.
Oh, these are Class C.
Yeah, no, and again, like actually the C's are because of liquidity, and also I think the regulatory lingo is like A is for institutional, even though some brokerages may or may not allow non-institutional people to have A's.
I'll fully admit I have not been following this train with you guys, but this one.
Yeah. But yeah,
if you can, well though,
it's pretty crazy. Because it got taken out of conservatorship. So like,
so this one got taken out of conservatorship. You're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Oh, interesting.
I mean, compare that to a chart of Fannie Mae.
What's the ticker? Do you know?
Isn't it FNMA? It's doing like a max.
Federal Mortgage Association? I don't think.
Yeah, this is Fannie Mae.
That's Fannie Mae.
Oh, it is? Okay. No. Oh, yeah.
Wow. Look at that.
Yeah.
Which, if you look at the AGMA chart, it's the same thing, except they got taken out. Like, because look, if you go back to AGMA, go back to that and hit the max chart. Look at see where it falls down there, and it dies right there in 2008.
Yep, bumpy plateau,
and then it gets taken out of conservatorship, and that's when. So it's the same chart, except it got taken out of conservatorship.
Interesting. You know what one we forgot got taken out of didn't they release Wells Fargo from their cap?
Oh
their cap?
yeah. It
Did
was the
they?
capital
Did they finally get out of
restrictions.
the cap?
Yeah, I don't know if they did.
Actually, I don't know. Actually, I looked at the chart and I'm like, did they? I mean, it's like 2.5x almost.
I don't know. I used to work at Wells, and we talk about that a lot. That was back in like 2017, though, so I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I still have contacts there who I talked to once in a while. This was probably a few years ago, and they thought they were like 3-4 years out, so they could be. Sharf's done a great job there, so.
Dating yourself there. That's
So
presidential terms.
So I think like
young.
this is something if people want to really do some homework, like
Mhm.
like long term, like building standards always go up after natural disasters like this. They like so for me, like in the Northeast, was it Hurricane Sandy or Irene hit Long Island, right? Took out all these coastal communities. They upgrade the building codes, right? Now they have to be on pylons, or like when they rebuild these homes in Florida, they're probably going to have like stronger hurricane fasteners and stuff. Maybe if they didn't have it 40 years ago. So this video, this picture, I think has been shared like 14 million times, this post, because this guy's house got saved. So trying to figure out what building products he used, because you assume people are going to probably ask for these products, like, and this is a very, a visible picture. So basically, like the siding, I read, he actually talks about how he built the house. So metal roof, he used he said aluminum and cement fiber cement siding. Then he referenced like a specific type of decking, which it's not investable. And then some other details. The one I thought, the cement fiber board, I think was like, because that is A-rated fire material for people. Like that's a siding you can put on your house where it's cement with like a fiber filler.
You know what else I heard was that like a lot of the people that had their homes like in the Palisades and stuff didn't have them insured because they owned them outright. And from what I'm understanding, like a lot of people are just selling their plots of land and not going to move back.
Yeah, like they were legacy houses from like their grandparents, and they couldn't afford the fire insurance after a while. I think I read one guy, it went from 4,000 to like 20,000, and he just is like, I can't afford this fire insurance. So now the house is gone. I mean, yeah, they're not gonna be able to rebuild. But so we'll see what happens with standards. But this could be an interesting investment idea. So you've got the idea of investing in the construction efforts, and then you could also invest in maybe the products that they're going to be used, because the houses will be built better. So the sidings that are fireproof would be like stucco, bricks. So that's actually like an aggregate. If there's an aggregate company out west that does, they're the aggregates for brick and concrete, that could be something for people to look at. Which
I'm in a company that theoretically profits off this pretty well too, and is cheap as dirt, which is Meg.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
They have a pretty good presence in California too.
There was, I looked at this a little. I wait till the weekend to look at stuff. I found it this week. So this company, T-Tech, where's the website?
I think they're like a not comparable, not competitor, but they're like what's when you compare multiples to with Meg?
Peer.
Yeah.
So this company does like water infrastructure in California. So this could be like, maybe they want to build more reservoirs or upgrade their water infrastructure. I mean, these people could benefit from that. We can also look at.
I want to say Jehoshaphat compared T-Tech and Meg.
I don't know how. So this is the company. This is the leader in cement fiber boards, which is the fire rated siding that I'm betting a lot of these houses are going to come back with. Which you can see the market's already on these things. Like you got to be on, because this is like a Chris Camillo, like dumb. This is like what he does. He's
Meg's
probably
based out of Irvine, by the way, so they're also big there.
But there could be some more to these. They get those initial pops, but then like the improved earnings come out later on, and that's when you get like the real improvements.
I need to do an updated pitch on Meg for the CM, but like they're so cheap right now, and basically in the last presentation, management gave like a timeline, and they'll have all of their preferred shares paid off by the end of this year, they said, which is like 120 million. So between Q4 of 2024 and all 2025, they're going to do 120 million of free cash flow off of an 800 million market cap.
Oh, nice.
And that's without counting like any benefit from California.
I gotta give them another look. Like, what's part of their business? Wait.
You have to do Meg stock, and the problem is it'll pull up. There you go.
Yep.
Sometimes it pulls up the Canadian one.
It's long story short, like healthy amount is natural disaster related services.
Mm-hmm.
So they have like lab services, testing facilities, testing services.
Okay. Ooh, remediation. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that is probably.
Well, now it makes it a more interesting investment now from when we kind of just scalped it before, but okay.
I feel like a lot of these investments, because you guys know I was buying, like, I'm up already. Well, I made it. Well, anyways, I'm up a lot because I was really buying this heavy, like in the mid-teens.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like sometimes stocks, they get so cheap, and it's like all it needs is like the littlest bit of good news, and it's like, now you're ready. Now it's going to take off, you know. And
you are a smart man, whoever this is. You are dead on. I love this company. I just wish I owned more of it.
As a tech person, or like someone that's worked around tech, I feel like SSD would be a different, wouldn't be like a building company, but
you guys, I've been in this for a while. I wish I had bought more, but because I looked at it when it was like 70, and then I grabbed some when it was like 112. But this is like the ultimate climate change stock. If people want to get into like, because like building codes are going to get improved everywhere, I think this is the company that builds all those engineered fasteners. I think this is honestly a great, like, if you buy this on the dips, you just buy it on dips and hold it. It's a boring business, but they're like the trajectory they have, and like you can't just buy these engineered fasteners from like a Chinese company. Like they have to be certified, like inspect properly, and they're getting required in more parts of the country. You would say like that would benefit this company if like hurricane building codes expanded to more of the Southeast. They would directly benefit. And they're going to get more business in California too. So earthquakes and stuff. Just these boring businesses.
I love boring. My portfolio is largely boring.
I can't say if this is right now. I haven't looked at this in a while for any.
My portfolio right now is very not boring, and I'm kind of like tired of it, but I'm also like addicted to like I want to make money. So like
bloodthirsty Andrew.
Well,
yeah,
we know
if it works, screw it. You know, who am I to judge?
It's been working, but I'm also like,
master brands.
So can you appreciate, Andrew, cabinets?
Oh, I appreciate cabinets.
20%. And there were some people I said I'm like, buy it in the 14. Have I always said that? Bacon? I've always said buy it in the 14s. Yep. So it dropped to the 14s, and I was like, you should buy it, anybody. Like this, it's kind of like a floor for this, the valuation. Like 14s is like where it's like baseline. I don't know. I like this. But Coop's coming back, so
Coop has been going strong.
I finally I got sick of missing some of these, so I bought a decent chunk of Builder when it was in the 130s.
You did.
Yeah, I got sick of saying I should have with these companies that dip. I'm like, I just bought it blindly because I'm like, every time it goes this low, it just pops. And you know, you get some good housing news. That's all this company needs, and we got good housing news. One of the reports about new builds improving over estimates. Boom, it popped. This is like the most crackhead day. Like if I was a day trader, I would be focused on this company because this stock is crazy volatile. It's nuts. Like I would be focused on this. So I don't know. They probably don't even get it either. It's like, why do this thing goes up and down like 10-15% in a day? What the hell? Like
it is a volatile stock.
Yeah.
Oh, Ritz-Holtz is buying it. Interesting. I wonder if they're going to talk about it on
good old Barry
Compound. I don't know if I've heard them talk about it. The only thing that worries me about this company is that Home Depot is moving into their space now.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Home Depot made that was it the wholesaler, I think, purchase. It kind of got me nervous because like Home Depot is really good at this. Like they do everything well. So I don't know. And there, lumber is not a moat. So I mean, maybe like the service of delivering the lumber can be a moat. Like I don't know.
Yeah. At that point, though, that's probably more of like what an economies of scale advantage. Maybe you could argue, but
that's why I would be terrified. I don't want to own this forever. I'd own Master Brands for a long time. I think they could dominate cabinet building in the country. It's just me, but anyways, what do we at? Hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I think a lot of ground got covered. It's
there might not be any juice to these California investments. I mean, maybe it was the first few days is it. Maybe that 15% is all you get. I mean, we don't know. But like, it's tough because like United Rental and these companies are like national or worldwide companies. So how much of a bump is the company itself going to get from just like California? But that was a crazy. I mean, these are $1 million homes and thousands of $1 million valued homes are burnt to the ground. So it's crazy. I can't even believe it. So like that they showed those maps where it was like a whole neighborhood of these houses worth like $4 or $5 million and they're all gone. So I don't know. Hope USA doesn't go bankrupt.
Yeah.
I don't know how exposed there is. My friend was telling me he's a Marine. He's like, there is naval stations near the Palisades, like north of it.
Mm-hmm.
So there are people in the Navy and Marines that are in that area.
Oh, for sure.
So hopefully they didn't do too terribly. I don't know. Ritzold bought BTI.
No,
I love BTI, but Philip Morris has been the GOAT because of Zinn. The product they've got the product. BTI has a pouch product. It's not the one everyone's going to, but I like the worldwide exposure.
Same.
You want to hear something funny? I'm just looking at some stuff. Bitcoin was trading at like $104,500. It's down to like $103,500 after. It looks like it just dumped after the Trump announcement, which is like kind of funny.
Why?
Because crypto markets are goofy. I don't know.
Cryptos only go up, except that when they don't.
Look at that, bro.
And tell me that I'm wrong. What do you?
Oh, look at, did Trump really just drop a Solana meme coin? Oh my God. This is the world we're going to live in for the next 4 years.
Yep.
It'll be all right. We'll all make it.
Yeah. We've been
I don't know. I feel like people are overreacting to like I have the same opinion. When like Biden came in, some stuff happened. Like I heard from certain people like this is crazy, it's gonna be terrible. And it's like, you know what? I went about my day 90% of the time, never thought about him or anyone in his administration. And I work in the stock or work in the stock market, but we dabble in the stock market, so like that's the only reason why I pay attention to any of that. It's gonna be the same thing with Trump. Just mute him on Twitter, and get on with your day. Like I don't think it's
because we already had 4 years of Trump. Like,
thank you.
we survived 4 years of Obama. We survived 8 years of Obama, 4 years of Biden, 8 years of George W. Bush. Like, I don't know where you, the viewer, are on the spectrum, but like chances are you didn't like at least one of those choices, and we're still here.
I just reminded myself to go mute Donald Trump and realized I already had him muted. So I'm like, oh, okay, good, I'm covered.
So
that's why like the only thing I did I kind of got out of any smaller micro cap investment ideas for now and wanted to go to something like more cash flowing, bigger businesses. So
yeah, the big thing I'm like not worried about, but like it'll be interesting to see what happens is like people as long as Trump doesn't say anything quantum related, I'm okay.
Yes.
Like I don't think he will. I feel like this is telling me if he's gonna say anything, it's gonna be something about crypto. And I'm like, cool. Keep it there.
Did you like the NVIDIA Quantum Day? So funny. Like, here's NVIDIA apologizes to quantum computing with a special day. So it's like,
Did they apologize?
I'm sorry I embarrassed and made fun of you. We're gonna have a special day for you, adorable quantum computer people. Like,
Bruh.
Well, did you read the actual press release? Because I did, and it's funny because they don't change their timeline in there. They say, it says they'll give a comprehensive and balanced perspective on what businesses should expect from quantum computing in the coming decades, mapping a path towards useful quantum applications.
wait, decades. Yeah, here.
Yeah, decades. Andrew, I know how you feel about like people who model out like 10 years, but what about decades?
Yeah, update your model, bro.
My models have it going up to $1 billion, jillion dollars, guys. By Regretti.
There's Regretti. We have Alice and Bob. Sounds like a huge, powerful company.
Well, actually, Alice and Bob.
The name,
it's a private venture,
yeah, like
right?
it rings like a mom and pop shop, but
no. So that's a reference to a book, isn't it?
No, is it?
From Alice to Bob? Isn't that a quantum computing book? I've been getting into the space as part of like when I was
gone really far. I'm just trying to make money.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
see, I'm like this neurotic person who needs to like understand at least a bit about what I'm like shorting to make sure like, okay, I can hear people tell me there's nothing there, but I need to figure it out for myself.
I watched some videos on quantum. I'm like, what is quantum computing? So I watched a few clips from various ones. I'm like, all right, I get.
Yeah, like did you
theoretically it could do crazy things, but
yeah, did you ask Prisley? Because he networked with some people in that space. Like it seemed like it was more on the academic side. Okay, yeah, cool. Because I collaborated with him last year just out of
he was actually looking to get. Well,
yeah.
I mean, we don't even know how AI is going to be monetized yet, and they're already jumping to quantum. It's like, how are you going to monetize LLMs and data centers and stuff?
The difference, though, is the broad use of application of AI versus the narrow application of quantum, and the expense it takes to run a quantum computer.
Yeah.
Like you need 1 million qubits, which we don't even know if that's possible. Like, sure, it might be possible, but like the fail rate goes exponentially higher and more difficult to correct the more qubits you have. And by the way, you have to run these things at negative 450 degrees Fahrenheit.
Stupid cold. It needs cryo.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sustainable. Wait, bring Aeon in. They'll take care.
No, I got to ask because, like, this is going to replace your local PC. I think is what most retailers that buy this thing. So, like, I want to go and figure out how to play a computer this way. It'll be fun.
All I hear is there's going to be a lot more climate-controlled space in the future, and I'm going to monetize all of it. So, hopefully,
I'm just ready to make more money.
JP is a hard-working CPA.
We need RBG quantum.
We need TSSI to jump for some put selling. Yeah. Oh, you're crazy, man, if you sell options on that thing. It was 7, 10, 9, 11 down. It's like, holy God. It's like everyone that holds it's like, okay, yeah, like 99% of their business is one company. Be scared. Well, I think we covered some good stuff.
Oh, yeah. I think
hour 30. Perfect.
Yeah, a lot of ground.
I always say I'm going to stop at hour, and it never happens.
Thanks for it, man. I just wanted to completely throw you guys off the Trump tweet. I thought it was too good to.
That's crazy.
Well, you inspired Echoes for whatever that's worth.
Everyone go to Echoes. I'm sure he'll have a video on it. So I don't know. Is that real? That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, no idea. Well, time will tell. Time will reveal all things.
By the way, people are, and I'll say this is why we're financial people, so we're focusing on oh, this is crazy. Look at the Trump thing. You could say it's equally as crazy. Like if you're someone, the fact that Joe Biden gave his son a sweeping pardon.
Oh yeah.
That's why I say
yeah. Plus also the BS reasoning behind it. Like if he just said, "Hey, it's my son," I'm not saying it would make fans or more haters. It just it would probably be more honest.
How can he pardon crimes that he hasn't even been charged with? That's the part that blows my mind.
Yeah.
He pardoned him from anything he could have done in that time period. I didn't even know that was. I thought pardons were federal crime indictments. You got rid of.
But I mean, if I have all the power in the world, and I can prevent my son from going to prison that he'll surely go to.
Did you ever see the Hunter Biden photos?
Maybe one or two. I didn't really.
Nothing was that. It's exactly what you think of a dude that was hooked on drugs. It's exactly what you think it is. Because I saw like 50 photos on Reddit. The dude was crazy. He was like doing drugs and like friggin' having like whores around him and guns, and there were drugs in it. And it's just what you think. It's what you think it is. So
I mean, and really, I think a lot of the pardon is what was he doing for dad?
Yeah.
So, and who else be implicated by him? So,
oh man, he was totally qualified to be on the board of a Ukrainian like nuclear committee or some bullshit.
Yeah. Welcome to America.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait. I'll be ready. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
You can yell at us at Capital Mindset. Yeah. Go watch ICOM. There was pretty good stuff covered about a lot of stocks recently. I'm not going to talk about Uber for now. Maybe we'll talk about another time. Uber. That's one of my favorite investments recently. Well, no, I like the Micron, Uber, and HII. So far.
Oh wow! Holy crap! My thing just like made it okay. All right, I'm surprised, pleasantly surprised.
All right. Thanks for watching, and we will see you later.